Shalom. First, we give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kakadash. And this is a reading of an article on the draft that's getting ready to get started here in America. You so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true biblical Israelites, you're going to get drafted into this World War III that's we're in the midst of right now. We're in the midst of this war, and they're going to need more bodies. And you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to get drafted, and so is the heathens. So are the heathens that's here in the U.S. and Babylon. You're going to take your asses over there to that desert, and you're not coming back. Here it is, the man, the Lord, has been warning you for years and years on end that this day would come. And now, from this article, it's saying they want their vendors to run a simulation on how to run the draft, because they're going to automatically enroll people into the draft ages 18 to 26, I believe, starting in December. But let's get some of this article here. It says, Selective Service System wants to wargame the draft. Fearing that its new plans for the U.S. military draft pool won't work, the Selective Service System wants to create a computer simulation to test scenarios for its national mobilization. The Readiness Simulation Project comes as the U.S. government is about to change its draft registration system. Since 1940, men within a designated age range have been required to register with the Selective Service, but under a proposed rule, men 18 to 26 will be automatically registered. Starting December 19, 2026, the Selective Service System will work off data contained in federal Salakia and other federal databases. Questions remain about how prepared the Selective Service System is to handle the change. SSS currently relies on manual analysis, legacy modeling approaches, outdated assumptions, and historical data sets that do not fully reflect modern demographics, communication channels, throughput constraints, or operational readiness conditions, warned the agency in a request for quote for the readiness simulation tool. It don't matter, ready or not, you're going to get drafted. So the deadline for vendors to propose their simulation models is August 14th, which is next month. The computer simulation will explore multiple areas. These include evaluating staffing and resource requirements, comparing mobilization and police scenarios, and assessing the operational impact of surge conditions. In addition, the system will identify throughput risks, delays, and bottlenecks, and support executive planning and reporting obligations. The goal is a simulation system that models the full end-to-end SSS mobilization pipeline, support configurable scenarios, and provides decision support and the analytics necessary for leadership, planners, and operators. So there it is. The day is finally here, man. That means we're getting closer and closer to getting the hell out of here. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So you don't have to believe what the man of the Lord say. Esau just told you that the draft is getting ready to start, and it's going to ramp up in December, going into 2027, because World War III is being fought right now. Believe it or not. But we're going to get Ecclesiastes 3:1. Then we're going to jump around. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Yeah, so there's a season for everything. And there's a purpose and a time to every purpose. And now it's a time of war. The eastern part of the world is at war. And it's filtering its way over to the west, man. You so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans, you've been comfortable here in the U.S. You know, you've been very comfortable here in the U.S. You know, you got these young jakes out here tearing the streets up. You know, with their street takeovers. You know, just being pure niggas, killing each other in the hood, stealing cars. You know, doing meetups downtown, vandalizing. You know, Esau it got something for you, man. And ultimately, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua got something for you. Because when you have a rebellious, stubborn kid that don't want to work and don't want to do right, pretty much, according to the law, statute, and commandments, you know, you supposed to put that little MF for the death, man. And same thing for the women. You're gonna get drafted into this too. The girls, the young women. You about to get you some boots and a rifle too. You know, so there's a purpose to everything, man. And there's a season and a time. And it's time for y'all asses to get out of here and go off and fight this war. We're gonna jump down to verse 8. A time to love. There's no love out here, man. It's cold heart out here. You know, the scripture, for to paraphrase, people are waxing cold out here. You know, I'm watching a video about a Jake. He got shot. He ran on the bus, you know, bleeding out. And Jake with a pizza stepped over the man and got off the bus. You know, he didn't want to spill his pizza, man. He didn't want his pizza to fall. He just stepped over the man like he was like a doormat. You know, then see if he was okay, see if he could help. Nothing. Just let me get off the bus and go. So it's a time to hate. Yeah, it's a time to hate. Oh, you see in the comment section, oh, fatiguers, basketballers, 13 percenters. You know, it's not them, but it's always them. It's nothing but hate out here for you so-called Negroes, man. And the so-called Latinos, you too. You know, they say you illegal and you just as bad as the Southern Kingdom, man. So Esau Edom is ready for something to happen to you, man. Something very, very bad. It's a time of war. Yeah, it's a time of war. And World War III is here. You know? Russia and Ukraine getting busy. Now Ukraine and Iran is getting ready to go at it, along with Israel and the U.S. and Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states. Man, the other part of the world is on fire, man. And Jake ain't doing nothing but worrying about worrying about watching movies, what they gonna do for the weekend, or worrying about Boosie, man. You're gonna find out the hard way, man. That the man of the Lord that we were truly sent by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man, to give you warning. You know that this day was coming, and lo and behold, look, it's here. So now, all we have to do now is just wait for the draft to actually be implemented, because they've been talking about it and talking about it. You know, and now it has really starting to get traction, man. And Esau Edom can't wait to get his hands on you, man, because he's bloodthirsty, man. He can't wait to get his hands on you, you so-called Negro Latinos and Native Americans. He can't wait to send y'all asses off the war to try to wipe you out, you know, because he want that birthright. You know, he's going to do that versus sending you to sending you to the war for the draft. Jacob's Trouble, aka martial law. He's gonna clamp down on you, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know, and if you don't have Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, or Yahweh Wah Yahweh Shah on your side, you're not gonna make it. You are not gonna make it out of this on what's to come. This isn't a time of peace. There's no time of peace right now. Number war, rumors of war is going on. You know, kingdom against kingdom. You know, we're gonna have peace when Yahweh Shah comes back and deliver the elect. And then once the elect, the 144,000 come out of them chariots to set order right in the earth, the way Yahweh Shah instructs or commands, that's when we're gonna have peace. Cause he's known as the Prince of Peace, man. Not Esau Edom. He's the damn demon of destruction, man. Of carnage, war, hell, and perdition, man. That's all Esau Edom can offer. So we're waiting on a so-called black man by the name of Yahweh Shai to come back to restore, to put peace in the earth. And once this World War III is over, which will be the last war, the earth will experience peace forever, man. You know? No more war. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Before I do, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Shalom.